The morning that changed everything began with a sentence that felt heavier than the sky before a storm, a sentence that didn't belong in ordinary life and yet shattered the quiet rhythm of mine completely. The words were desperate, rushed, and soaked in fear, the kind of words that don't ask for permission before they rearrange your future. By the time that moment passed, I understood something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Some people enter your life not when you are ready, but when you are needed most. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected love, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. My name is Nathan Carter, and I lived a quiet life in rural Pennsylvania, the kind of place where mornings smell like wet grass and evenings settle gently over wooden barns and open fields. I worked repairing fences, helping nearby farms, and keeping to myself after losing my parents years earlier. I wasn't lonely in the dramatic sense. I was just steady. My small farmhouse wasn't impressive, but it was honest, warm, and paid for with years of sweat. I believed life rewarded patience, not miracles. Rachel Whitmore entered that belief like a crack of thunder. She was the daughter of a struggling dairy farmer whose land bordered mine, a woman known around town for her strength and unshakable faith. She carried herself with dignity even when exhaustion weighed her shoulders down. That day, she stood near the fence separating our properties, the same fence I'd repaired countless times, her face pale and eyes holding back something close to panic. I had known her casually for years, exchanging polite smiles and small talk, nothing more, but something in her posture told me this was different. Rachel was cornered by circumstances far crueler than gossip or bad luck. Her father had passed suddenly, leaving behind debt stacked higher than the barn roof. The bank had given her an ultimatum wrapped in legal language but sharp as a blade: prove stability or lose the land. Stability, to them, meant a married household, shared income, and security. She had one day before the final decision. She didn't cry when she explained it. That frightened me more than tears ever could. She spoke like someone standing on the edge of a cliff, steady only because falling was no longer an option. She didn't come asking for love or romance. She came asking for survival. What I offered wasn't heroic or clever. It was simply the only honest thing I could give. I told her she could stay at my place, that the house was solid, the work was steady, and that together we could make it look real enough to buy time. It wasn't a lie born from manipulation. It was a promise born from compassion, even if I didn't fully understand where it would lead. That night, Rachel moved into the spare room with a single suitcase and a quiet prayer whispered under her breath. The house felt different immediately, warmer somehow, as if it had been waiting for footsteps other than mine. We agreed on boundaries, on honesty, on patience. The arrangement was practical on paper, but life has a way of bleeding emotion into even the most logical decisions. The days that followed tested us both. Neighbors watched closely. The bank inspected paperwork. Church elders asked questions layered with concern and curiosity. Rachel worked harder than anyone I had ever seen, waking before dawn, managing the farm during the day, and helping me in the evenings. I saw her strength up close, the kind rooted in faith rather than pride. And she saw my flaws too, the silence I used as armor, the grief I never spoke aloud. Slowly something shifted. It happened in small, unannounced moments. Shared meals after long days, quiet laughter over burnt coffee, sitting on the porch as fireflies flickered like fragile hopes. In the dark, the arrangement stopped feeling temporary. It began to feel true. Not because we forced it to be, but because two wounded people found rest in each other's presence. Rachel carried guilt, worried she was using me. I carried fear, worried I was imagining something that would disappear once the crisis passed. But faith has a way of growing where fear once lived. On Sundays, we attended church together, hands not touching, yet hearts strangely aligned. People stopped whispering. They started smiling. The bank decision came on a gray afternoon. Rachel stood beside me as the papers were signed, her hands trembling just slightly. The land was safe, the farm would survive. The storm had passed, but something else had been left behind in its wake. That evening we sat in silence, aware that the reason for our closeness had officially ended. There was no obligation left, no deadline forcing us together. And yet neither of us moved away. In that quiet, I realized love doesn't always arrive dressed as romance. Sometimes it shows up disguised as responsibility, patience, and shared hardship. Rachel stayed, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Months later, the farmhouse echoed with real laughter, not the cautious kind we practiced before. The fields thrived again. The barn stood taller, repaired not just with wood but with hope. We built a life rooted in honesty, not urgency. And when we finally stood before our community and vowed forever, it felt less like a beginning and more like a continuation of something God had been writing all along. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can grow from kindness and faith can turn desperation into destiny, please take a moment now to like the video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement means more than you know. Before this story ends, I want to ask you something special. Please comment below and tell us, do you believe the strongest love stories begin with sacrifice? Because sometimes the greatest miracles don't arrive when we ask for them. They arrive when we open our doors, our homes, and our hearts, and trust that even the most unexpected beginnings can lead to something eternal.